Why top clubs snubbed Osimhen? Elise, FIFA Technical Committee member and Nigerian football legend Sunday Elise has explained why several top European clubs appeared reluctant to pursue Super Eagles striker Victor Osimhen, citing the staggering total financial package required to secure his services. The former Nigeria captain broke down the true cost of acquiring Osimhen at approximately €187 million over 4 years. In a video circulated on social media, Elisa provided a detailed analysis of the complex transfer saga that eventually saw Osimhen join Turkish champions Galatasaray for a record-breaking fee. Let's get one thing very clear. For the fans, football is passion, love, but for all the actors involved in football, it is business, Elisa said, emphasizing the commercial realities of modern football transfers. The former Ajax midfielder explained that whilst many focused on Napoli's reported €75 million asking price, the actual cost to acquire and maintain Osimhen was considerably higher due to additional financial commitments. Elisa broke down the total package as follows: the €75 million transfer fee, a contractual clause granting Napoli 10% of any future resale, and Osimhen's substantial salary demands of €15 million net per year. The real price for acquiring and maintaining Osimhen is actually €187 million, Elisa stated, highlighting how the striker's wages alone would cost approximately €112 million over a 4-year contract period. The second part, the wages of Osimhen, it's at €15 million net. That's €28 million a year. If you multiply it by 4, you are coming to €112 million. This has been the major problem for clubs trying to acquire Osimhen, he added. The analysis helps explain why Premier League giants Manchester United and Chelsea, despite reported interest, ultimately failed to meet Napoli's overall valuation for the 26-year-old striker. Osimhen's protracted transfer saga dominated much of the summer window, with the Nigerian international's relationship with Napoli becoming increasingly strained as negotiations dragged on. The striker was notably absent from Galatasaray's opening Turkish Super League fixture against Gaziantep, which the Istanbul Giants won 3-0 without their marquee signing. Despite missing the match, Osimhen showed his commitment to his new club by posting a video of himself watching the game on television, captioning it, "Big mood, we keep going." As teammate Unel Moli celebrated the second goal, the Super Eagles star had not participated in preseason training due to the uncertainty surrounding his future, but is expected to be available for Galatasaray's next fixture against Fatih Karagümrük at Rams Park. Galatasaray's acquisition of Osimhen represents the most expensive signing in Turkish football history, with the club reportedly paying the full €75 million transfer fee up front, alongside his annual €15 million net salary. The striker's move to Turkey, while surprising to many, ultimately provided him with the platform to continue his career at the highest level, while securing significant financial rewards. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. Liverpool hit £145 million mark with 6 exits, and 2 more could help fund Alexander Isak deal. Liverpool have been one of the Premier League's most active clubs in the transfer market this summer and still hope to complete a record-breaking swoop for Alexander Isak. Liverpool have splashed some serious cash in the transfer window, but they've also recouped a big chunk of their summer spend through player sales after sanctioning Tyler Morton's move to Lyon. The Premier League champions have significantly strengthened the squad that made Arne Slot's maiden season at the helm one to remember by capturing Jeremy Frimpong, Florian Wirtz, Milos Kerkez, and Hugo Ekitike this summer. Those deals have added up though, with Wirtz alone arriving for a package worth a British record £116 million. Further signings are expected before the transfer window shuts next month, too, with outgoings helping to fund them. The Echo outlines that Morton's move to Lyon has netted Liverpool a cool £15 million, including add-ons. The Reds also retain a 20% sell-on fee and will stand to profit. If the young midfield thrives in France and moves again, Morton follows Trent Alexander, Arnold, Kawim Hin, Kelleher, Nat Phillips, Yarel Kwanzaa, and Luis Diaz in being sold this summer, with those deals raising a huge £145 million. But again, more are forthcoming. Darwin Núñez has agreed terms on a switch to Al Hilal, which will see the Saudi Pro League side part with £46 million, though add-ons will see that figure rise substantially, and Federico Chiesa will follow Núñez out the door after hardly featuring at all under Slot following his bargain move from Juventus last summer. All of those outgoings could help Liverpool land their top transfer target before the 1st of September. Alexander Isak. The Newcastle star is keen on the idea of moving to Anfield this summer, but his club have no appetite to sell their top striker. Relations between the club and Isak, 25, have soured, though, after he went to Spain to train alone last week, the Sweden international was instructed to train alone on Wednesday and was not invited to a player-family bonding event earlier in the day. Newcastle will not consider a sale unless they can bring in quality reinforcements, but they look set to miss out on a deal for Benjamin Sesko, with the Slovenian favoring a move to Manchester United. The Magpies have also missed out on other attacking targets during what has been a difficult summer transfer window, including Ekitike, Liam Delap, and Bryant Boom. Liverpool have already confirmed response to Newcastle's Alexander Isak transfer statement. Liverpool continue to be linked with a blockbuster transfer for Alexander Isak, but Newcastle remain adamant that they will not sell their star striker this summer. Alexander Isak's hopes of joining Liverpool this summer appear to be fading fast, with the Premier League champions unwilling to pursue any players they deem to be unattainable. The Reds have already seen a 9-figure offer for Isak rejected this summer, and with Newcastle adamant they will not sell the 25-year-old striker, Isak looks likely to be a Magpies player when the transfer window shuts on the 1st of September. It emerged on Saturday morning that the Sweden international has reacted furiously after being informed he will not be sold this summer, and while the report adds that Isak will not feature for Newcastle until he accepts the board will not sell him in this transfer window. Liverpool's recruitment policy means a breakthrough is unlikely. It was outlined prior to the weekend by the iPaper that the champions' requirements for any transfer target include them being realistically attainable and that any deal would represent fair market value. As things stand, neither of those requirements would be met with Isak, given Newcastle value their star striker in excess of £150 million and do not want to sell. Liverpool are expected to target a new number 9 after agreeing a deal to sell Darwin Núñez to Al Hilal. They have already signed Hugo Ekitike from Eintracht Frankfurt this summer, though the Frenchman is also capable of playing in a wide attacking role. Ekitike was a target for Newcastle before the Reds swooped in, and they continued to pursue forwards themselves. Brentford's Yoane Wissa is one such target. Isak did not feature in Newcastle's latest preseason fixtures and has now been instructed to train alone after failing to join his teammates on their recent tours of Asia. Speaking after the 2-2 draw with Espanyol on Friday night at St. James Park, Eddie Howe said of the situation, "We've had discussions and it's clear at the moment that we can't involve him with the group. I don't know how long that will be for, but that's the latest. I'd want Alex to be playing today. I'd want him training tomorrow. We would love the player to be with us. Let me make that absolutely clear. There's no part of me that doesn't want that outcome, but I don't see the current situation changing for Aston Villa Newcastle's season opener." Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. Arsenal give an overwhelming green light over next transfer, icing on the cake. Arsenal have already spent heavily this summer, with a number of new faces having already arrived at the Emirates, and another major deal has been given. The thumbs up by a Gunners legend. Ray Parlour has backed Arsenal to sign Ibarrechias as their final summer addition. The Gunners have already spent heavily this summer, with 6 new faces having arrived at the Emirates Stadium. Noni Madwek, Victor Gyökeres, and Martin Zubamendi are among the headline arrivals, while Christian Norgard, Christian Mosquera, and Kepa Arrizabalaga have all signed for the club. But Mikel Arteta's side might not be done there. Arsenal also want to add a new winger before next month's deadline. Crystal Palace star S has been identified as a potential signing, while Real Madrid's Rodrigo is also an option. Gunners icon Parlour has given his verdict on Arsenal's windows so far and believes that S could be the final addition of the summer. Speaking on Talk Sport, he said, "I think there might be one more signing. I don't know how much money they've got left or whether the rules as well they've got to look at. But if there is enough money, Ez would be a great signing," he added. "He'd be playing off the left there, maybe, but you've got to have options. You've got to have lots of players who can just come in and come out of the team. And we all know that you've got to have depth. A lot of depth if you're playing Champions League football. The FA Cup, so many games. That's why Norgard would be good for Arsenal, because he can come in certain games. He's got the experience. And he knows he's going to be second fiddle, but he can still play a big part for Arsenal in certain areas. So I think Ez would be the icing on the cake. Would Ibarrechias be a good signing for Arsenal? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Arsenal need to get a move on if they want to complete a relatively affordable move for ES. The England winger has a £68 million release clause written into his contract with Crystal Palace, but that only remains active for another week. His contract with Palace is due to run until 2027. Should the Gunners not make their move before then, they could potentially be forced to pay more for Ez. Rodrigo has emerged as another option for Arteta, but it is suggested that Arsenal would only be willing to make a move for him on loan. Arsenal start their Premier League season against Manchester United at Old Trafford in just a week's time. Before that, they take on Spanish side Athletic Bilbao at the Emirates Stadium in their final preseason game. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. Newcastle tell Alexander Isak he will not be sold this summer, leaving one-away Liverpool target furious. Eddie Howe has discussed the star striker's future. Newcastle have told Alexander Isak that he will not be allowed to leave the club this summer, according to reports. Isak has been embroiled in a transfer saga for most of the window as he tries to force through a move to Liverpool. The Reds have already seen a £110 million bid for the Swedish striker turned down by Newcastle. Now, according to The Telegraph, Isak has been informed that he will not be sold in a show of defiance from the club's Saudi Arabian ownership. It is claimed that Isak has been left furious by the decision and will not be played by Eddie Howe until he is able to come to terms with the fact that he will be denied a move this summer. The Saudi Public Investment Fund PIF have remained steadfast in their stance that Isak isn't for sale for the entire window. Liverpool were understood to be aware of their strong position when they decided to lodge their £110 million bid. Manager Howe has ordered Isak to train away from the group in the midst of the uncertainty surrounding his future. Isak returned to former club Real Sociedad to train alone earlier in the summer when he wasn't part of Newcastle's preseason tour of Asia due to the speculation. He has since returned to the Magpies training facility but is yet to work with the rest of the group. Howe said on Friday that it is clear that he can't involve Isak in team training at the moment. He explained, "We've had discussions and it's clear at the moment that we can't involve him with the group." Isak still has 3 years remaining on his deal on Tyneside. Newcastle Chiefs have reportedly tried to offer him a new deal, with some claims suggesting it would include a release clause for next summer. The club have been looking for a new striker of their own this summer, losing out on the signing of Hugo Ekitike to Liverpool and Benjamin Sesko to Manchester United. It is reported that, should Newcastle bring in a new striker, they will still maintain their position that Isak is not for sale. Newcastle are yet to discipline Isak, with it suggested that they hope to reintegrate him into the group once the smoke clears. Alexander Isak transfer news. Eddie Howe says Liverpool target cannot train with Newcastle squad but still has future at club. Eddie Howe has said Alexander Isak cannot currently rejoin the first-team squad and is set to miss their Premier League opener at Aston Villa, but insists he still has a future at the club. Magpies rejected an opening offer of £110 million plus add-ons from Liverpool. Newcastle boss Eddie Howe insists Liverpool transfer target Alexander Isak still has a future at St. James' Park but says the striker cannot currently be involved with the squad and will miss their Premier League opener with Aston Villa. Isak was back at Newcastle's facility on Monday morning, having missed their preseason tour and trained away from the rest of the squad. As instructed by Howe, the Magpies rejected an opening offer of £110 million plus add-ons from Liverpool on August 1st. After Isak told the club he wanted to explore his options in the transfer window, Isak was not involved in Newcastle's penultimate friendly of the summer against Espanyol, a 2-2 draw which saw William Osula start up front, with Howe refusing to put a timeline on when the Sweden international would return to the first-team fold. Howe does not expect any resolution to the situation before their season opener at Villa Park next Saturday. He said on Friday, "I'd want Alex to be playing today. I'd want him training tomorrow. We would love the player to be with us. Let me make that absolutely clear. There's no part of me that doesn't want that outcome, but I don't see that changing before Aston Villa, the current situation we're in." Speaking further after the friendly at St. James' Park, Howe said he had been in talks with Isak about finding a resolution. "We've had discussions and it's clear at the moment we can't have him involved with the group," said Howe. "I don't know how long that will be for. It's clear I can't involve him with the team at the moment. He is training later than the rest of the squad. There have been discussions since the tour. I don't think disciplinary action has happened." When pushed for an answer on whether Isak has a future at the club, Howe added, "He is here, so of course he has a future at Newcastle. From our perspective, we would love to have him back with the team, but the situation has to be right for that to happen." Isak had previously been training at his former club Real Sociedad's headquarters on his own. After missing Newcastle's preseason tour of Asia, asked if the club could simply dig in their heels and refuse to sell their star frontman, Howe said, I don't think it's that straightforward, otherwise we'd have done that a long time ago. I don't think we're in a position to do that currently. I don't want to go into too much detail because I don't think that's right. I think I've said enough. The club's failure to sign players has sparked suggestions. Saudi Arabia's public investment fund, owning 85%, is less engaged. However, Howe, who admitted the Isak situation has unsettled a previously united squad, was unequivocal in his denial. He said, "The owners are very much engaged, as much as they always have been. This has been a challenging period where there'll be a lot of different opinions on different subjects, but I can assure everybody connected with Newcastle that the owners are very much behind the project and fighting every day for the club." Howe previously warned no player could expect to act poorly and train with group as normal. Howe has not closed the door on Isak one day representing Newcastle again. But the head coach stressed on Friday that the situation had to be right for that to happen. "We've had discussions and it's clear at the moment that we can't involve him with the group," he said after Newcastle's 2-2 draw in a friendly against Espanyol. "I don't know how long that will be for, but that's the latest." Howe confirmed Isak, who has no current fitness issues, had not been disciplined, but the Sweden international has been instructed to train at a later time to the rest of his teammates in Newcastle. "I'd want Alex to be playing today," Howe added just 8 days before the season opener at Aston Villa. "I'd want him training tomorrow. We'd love the player to be with us. Let me make that absolutely clear. There's no part of me that doesn't want that outcome, but I don't see the current situation changing for Aston Villa." Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe.